Y'all, whatever exploded outside that courthouse today was not just another celebrity scuffle or messy family disagreement. This was a moment so volatile, so emotionally charged that it instantly crossed the line from private family drama into a full-blown public scandal. The kind of moment that makes people stop scrolling, rewind the clip, and ask themselves, did that really just happen? Because in a blink-and-you-missed-it meltdown, Kandi allegedly went after her own mother, Mama Joyce, right under flashing cameras, surrounded by reporters, bystanders, and a family already stretched to its breaking point. And what triggered it all wasn't a rumor, or a whisper, or a vague accusation. It was a bombshell secret that detonated without warning and sent shockwaves through the family, the courtroom, and the internet at large. The courthouse was already tense before anyone stepped outside. Divorce proceedings, custody fallout, and unresolved resentment hung thick in the air like a storm waiting to break. But no one was prepared for what came next. According to multiple accounts, Mama Joyce is accused of leaking Riley Burruss's DNA results, a move that instantly crossed from family conflict into irreversible betrayal. The alleged claim? That Riley's real father is not who the world believed, but allegedly Coleman Domingo. A revelation so explosive it didn't just rock the family, it ignited social media within minutes, pulling millions of strangers into a deeply personal crisis that should never have been public in the first place. For Kandi, that leak reportedly hit like a lightning strike. This wasn't just about gossip or embarrassment, this was about identity, privacy, and a child being thrust into the center of a narrative she never asked to be part of. Sources say Kandi felt blindsided, humiliated, and enraged, not only because of what was revealed, but because of who revealed it. A mother, a grandmother, someone who was supposed to protect the family, not expose it. And once that trust shattered, there was no stopping what came next. When Kandi confronted Mama Joyce outside the courthouse, it wasn't calculated or calm. Witnesses describe a moment driven by raw emotion, rage colliding with heartbreak, betrayal spilling out in front of cameras that captured every second. Raised voices quickly escalated into chaos. Onlookers claim the confrontation turned physical, with shoves exchanged and tempers flaring as years of unresolved tension exploded all at once. Every stare burned with accusation, every movement carried the weight of a family imploding in real time. And because this happened on courthouse steps, there was no escaping the spotlight. This wasn't a private argument behind closed doors, this was a spectacle unfolding in front of the world. What makes this even more devastating is who was standing nearby, watching it all unfold. Riley, the very person at the center of the DNA controversy, forced to witness her mother and grandmother collide in a storm of secrets, accusations, and emotional warfare. Imagine standing there as your identity becomes a headline, your family fractures on camera, and strangers dissect your life online in real time. Riley didn't shout, she didn't intervene, she stood frozen, caught between loyalty, confusion, and heartbreak, while the people she loves most turned on each other in a moment that will likely follow her for the rest of her life. Todd, meanwhile, could only watch from the sidelines. Having already walked away with legal victories in prenup and custody matters, his role in this unfolding chaos was strangely quiet yet impossible to ignore. Those wins, once monumental, now felt hollow in comparison to the emotional wreckage playing out for everyone to see. Legal battles may have ended on paper, but emotionally, the war was far from over. And as the chaos escalated outside, it followed them straight back inside the courthouse. Behind those doors, the tension didn't ease, it intensified. Mama Joyce filed a lawsuit against Kandi almost immediately, accusing her of assault and emotional distress. What started as a family confrontation instantly transformed into a legal battlefield, dragging lawyers, judges, and court staff into a conflict that was already burning out of control. Attorneys described the atmosphere as chaotic and gut-wrenching. Words flew like weapons, accusations cut deep. Every sentence carried years of resentment, manipulation, and unresolved pain. Kandi's legal team argued that the DNA leak was a violation of privacy so severe it shattered her emotional stability and her ability to protect her daughter. They framed her alleged outburst not as random aggression, but as a desperate reaction to provocation and betrayal. Mama Joyce's attorneys pushed back hard, painting Kandi as volatile and dangerous, using circulating video clips to argue that her behavior crossed an unforgivable line. The courtroom, once meant to represent order and justice, became a theater of raw emotion where truth and narrative fought for dominance. Riley remained seated beside her grandmother, visibly conflicted, her body language speaking louder than words. Each tear wiped away, each shift in her seat, each quiet sob added another layer of tragedy to the spectacle. This wasn't just about who was right or wrong anymore. This was about the emotional toll on a child forced to live her most vulnerable moments in public view. Experts later weighed in, emphasizing the long-term psychological impact of such exposure, especially when family loyalty and identity are involved. Outside the courthouse, the media frenzy exploded. Clips of the alleged altercation racked up millions of views within hours. Hashtags trended globally. Influencers dissected body language. Commentators debated morality versus provocation. Fans picked sides instantly, arguing fiercely over whether Kandi was justified in defending her daughter and her truth, or whether Mama Joyce crossed a line that could never be undone. Every frame, every screenshot, every slowed-down replay added fuel to a fire that refused to die. The story only grew louder as more details emerged. Witness testimony described Kandi approaching Mama Joyce with fury in her eyes, words exchanged rapidly, emotions boiling over until physical contact allegedly occurred. Security scrambled, reporters rushed closer, phones were raised, and just like that, a private family crisis became a viral event etched permanently into the internet's memory. There was no undo button, no walking it back. The damage was done. As court sessions continued, the emotional stakes climbed higher. Kandi reportedly took the stand, her voice trembling yet resolute as she spoke about betrayal, manipulation, and her desperate attempt to shield Riley from a secret she never consented to having exposed. She framed her actions as the result of years of emotional pressure, unresolved trauma, and a breaking point finally reached. Her words weren't polished, they were raw, and that rawness resonated deeply with those watching, both inside the courtroom and across the world online. Mama Joyce responded with her own testimony, calm on the surface but charged underneath. She presented timelines, messages, and statements designed to portray her actions as necessary, even protective. She spoke of loyalty, responsibility, and what she claimed was her duty to intervene, regardless of how painful it might be. Her team insisted that no emotional provocation could ever justify physical confrontation, turning the case into a moral debate as much as a legal one. Throughout it all, Riley remained the silent center of the storm. Every camera angle found her, every article mentioned her, and every comment thread speculated about her future, her parentage, her loyalty. It was a stark reminder that behind every viral headline is a human being absorbing the fallout in real time. A child forced to grow up under the harsh glare of public scrutiny because adults failed to protect boundaries that should never have been crossed. By the end of the day, the courtroom emptied, but the tension didn't leave. Kandi retreated with her legal team, emotionally drained yet determined. Mama Joyce stayed in the spotlight, offering carefully worded statements to reporters about accountability and restraint. Social media, meanwhile, showed no signs of slowing. The feedback loop of outrage, sympathy, speculation, and judgment churned non-stop, guaranteeing this saga would dominate headlines for weeks, if not months. According to reports, Mama Joyce allegedly released Riley Burruss's DNA results, exposing the claim that Riley's biological father is allegedly Coleman Domingo. That single disclosure hit like a thunderclap. It didn't just alter the family dynamic, it redefined it, sending shockwaves through households and igniting social media within minutes. The courtroom, already charged with the fallout of divorce battles, custody disputes, and long-standing resentment, became the epicenter of something far bigger than a legal proceeding. What should have been contained within the walls of the courthouse spilled outward into chaos as emotions boiled over and years of buried tension erupted all at once. Witnesses say Kandi, driven by a volatile mix of rage, betrayal, heartbreak, and desperation, confronted her mother immediately after the hearing. What began as a verbal confrontation reportedly escalated in seconds. Voices rose, accusations flew, and before anyone could fully process what was happening, onlookers claimed the clash turned physical. A brief but devastating moment of unfiltered emotion played out before cameras, capturing a mother and daughter colliding not just physically, but emotionally, symbolizing years of unresolved pain exploding in a single instant. This was not calculated, this was raw, and the world watched it happen. What makes this situation even more devastating is the presence of Riley herself. Standing beside Mama Joyce, Riley reportedly witnessed the confrontation between her mother and grandmother, trapped inside a storm of secrets, deception, and family betrayal. Imagine being forced to watch the foundation of your identity crack open in public, your family implode on camera, and strangers across the globe dissect your life as if it were entertainment. Riley did not choose this moment. She did not consent to her personal history becoming a headline. Yet there she was, caught in the crossfire of a conflict that would likely follow her for years to come. Todd, already deeply entangled in prenup disputes and custody conflicts, appeared stunned by what was unfolding. Whatever legal victories had been secured suddenly felt hollow compared to the emotional devastation playing out before him. The courtroom drama he had endured paled in comparison to the spectacle erupting outside. This was no longer about legal outcomes. It was about control, legacy, and truth. And those battles were far messier than anything that could be settled on paper. Within minutes, social media ignited. Footage of the alleged confrontation spread like wildfire, surging across platforms and trending worldwide almost instantly. Every frame captured fear, fury, sorrow, and disbelief. A private family fracture was transformed into a public theater of dominance, manipulation, and emotional warfare. Comment sections exploded with speculation. Fans chose sides. Critics dissected body language frame by frame. The internet did what it always does, consumed the pain and turned it into spectacle. But this was never just a story about a mother and daughter clashing. This was a battle over truth, inheritance, loyalty, and broken faith, over who controls the narrative when secrets come to light. Every step on those courthouse stairs, every stare exchanged, every hushed allegation tightened the tension, leaving audiences asking who truly stands with whom inside a family ripped apart by deceit. And now, the question burning through every platform remains unanswered. Was Kandi's alleged outburst a justified act of desperation meant to protect her daughter and her truth? Or did Mama Joyce cross an unforgivable line by revealing secrets that were never meant to be exposed? What detonated outside the courthouse today is the kind of story that leaves you breathless, stunned, and rethinking everything you thought you knew about blood ties and loyalty. Kandi, consumed by fury and sorrow, allegedly struck her own mother in an eruption of rage no one saw coming. The pressure had been mounting for weeks. Ever since the alleged DNA release, the illusion of control Kandi believed she had over her family and her future reportedly shattered. That revelation did more than hurt. It destabilized everything. It tore open wounds that had been festering beneath the surface for years, wounds now bleeding publicly. As lenses captured every second, the courthouse steps transformed into a battlefield of emotion, survival, and desperation. Kandi, visibly shaking, confronted Mama Joyce with accusations that cut to the core. Witnesses say the situation escalated rapidly. Shoves were exchanged, words were weaponized, raw emotion poured out without restraint. And within moments, the footage flooded the internet, leaving supporters and spectators frozen in disbelief at the intensity of the collapse unfolding before them. Inside the courthouse, the atmosphere was no calmer. Mama Joyce reportedly filed a lawsuit almost immediately, accusing Kandi of assault and psychological intimidation. What began as a family confrontation instantly morphed into a legal war, threatening what little remained of the family's public image. Attorneys described the moment as chaotic and devastating, with security struggling to regain control as accusations flew back and forth. Every sentence seemed to deepen the wounds. Every stare carried the weight of years of unresolved conflict. Outside, the crowd swelled, cameras flashed, reporters documented everything, the shaking hands, the furious cries, the tears flowing freely as the courthouse steps became ground zero for one of the most explosive family showdowns in recent memory. Social platforms were flooded with reactions almost instantly: shock, disbelief, outrage. Hashtags tied to the incident surged globally within hours, confirming that this story had seized the world's attention and refused to let go. At the heart of it all remained Riley, caught between allegiances, forced to witness the two people she loves most turn against one another. She could not intervene, she could not escape, and yet she carried the heaviest burden of all. Legal experts later weighed in on the psychological toll of such public exposure on minors, emphasizing how moments like these can leave scars that last far beyond headlines and court rulings. As court sessions continued, the emotional stakes only intensified. Kandi reportedly took the stand, her voice trembling but resolute as she spoke of betrayal, manipulation, and her desperate attempts to shield Riley from a truth she never consented to being made public. Her testimony was not polished. It was raw, heavy with years of frustration, sorrow, and emotional strain. She framed her alleged actions as the breaking point of a woman pushed beyond endurance by secrecy and control. Mama Joyce responded with her own testimony, projecting composure while presenting timelines, records, and statements meant to portray Kandi as volatile and unstable. Her legal team argued that no provocation could justify physical aggression, framing the incident as a clear breach of both legal and moral boundaries. The courtroom transformed into a battleground of narratives, with each side fighting not just for legal victory, but for control over the story the world would remember. Throughout it all, Riley sat silently, her body language revealing the emotional toll words could not. Every tear wiped away, every tense movement, every downward glance added another layer of tragedy to the unfolding drama. The public wasn't just watching a scandal anymore, they were witnessing the unraveling of a family in real time. Outside the courthouse, the media storm only intensified. Clips of the alleged altercation circulated millions of times within hours. Influencers, commentators, and gossip outlets dissected every angle, debating morality, loyalty, and responsibility. The obsession was relentless, fueled by the endless loop of viral footage and speculation. Every share, every comment, every reaction poured more gasoline onto a fire that refused to burn out. As the day wore on, the judge called recess, but even the pause offered no relief. Kandi retreated with her legal team, emotionally drained, yet determined to continue fighting. Mama Joyce remained in the spotlight, delivering carefully worded statements about accountability and restraint. Riley stayed silent, trapped within a whirlwind of media attention and family tension, her every expression analyzed and shared online. This is no longer just a legal case. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when private pain collides with public exposure. It's a story of trust shattered, loyalties tested, and truths revealed in the most unforgiving way possible. Kandi isn't just fighting for herself, she's fighting for her daughter, for control of her narrative, and for a version of truth she believes was stolen from her. Mama Joyce's alleged choices, Riley's emotional turmoil, and Todd's distant but significant presence all weave together into a story that is as heartbreaking as it is sensational. And the most haunting part, this is far from over. Every new clip, every legal motion, every whispered allegation threatened to reignite the fire. The world continues to watch, debate, and judge as this family navigates the wreckage left behind by secrets brought into the light. The question now isn't just who was right or wrong, it's whether reconciliation is even possible after something like this, whether truth can heal, or whether it only destroys when revealed this way. So don't blink, because this storm is still gathering strength, and as the fallout continues, one thing is undeniable: This family's pain has become public property, and the consequences will echo long after the cameras stop rolling.